What is going on, guys? Carson back with another live stream. This time I got to take the time out just to show what all I've been buying, which this isn't all I've been buying. I kind of sort of wish it was, but my downstairs living room kitchen is just, it's packed with books I still got to process and go through. And yeah, I'm trying to slow it down a little bit, but I feel like every live stream I've ever done starts with me saying something along those lines. So yeah, I just grabbed a few piles and then the whole bunch of keys you saw in the thumbnails. If you've been following me on Instagram or actually been watching the Modern Men stuff all the way through, some of these will be reruns probably a little bit, but I feel like talking about them. And yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about toys and the toys I don't have anymore. But let's get to the live chat real quick. And then we got to go through these books real quick because I brought like 3 stacks. We got Mr. Gretzky. 9966. How you doing, Mr. Gretzky? He says Heroes Con was amazing, and he has now completed Action Comics 255 through 904. That is very impressive. Congratulations. I know you're going to keep pushing it back. I might have a couple of books you're going to enjoy tonight if you like Superman and Action Comics, of course. But yeah, I'm a little bummed I missed Heroes Con. I saw a lot of photos, videos, haul stuff the community has picked up, and it looked like an amazing time. A lot of heroes met their heroes, so that looked really awesome. So I hope to make it one day to that con. It's on my con bucket list for sure. I just couldn't get the days off this year because I got a lot of plans for a lot of vacations throughout the second half of 2024. And Chris Barrett just says, toys? Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about toys tonight. Yeah, we'll get into that here in a few, but let's go ahead and start with some modern pickups. So most of these are from the local shop. So I bought a Wolverine #1 Blood Hunt tie-in. I don't know if this is Wolverine Blood Hunt #1, an all new Wolverine #1, probably Blood Hunt Wolverine #1. Gotta love Marvel's numbering, but nonetheless, I had to get this Kevin Eastman cover because he's one of my cover guys. If I see him do a cover, especially like on a non-turtle, especially now, and turtle, non-turtle, doesn't really matter. I'm probably going to buy it if it's a Kevin Eastman cover. But Wolverine #1, got the Ginny Frizzin on the Vampirella Dark Reflections. So love me some Ginny Frizzin. Usually if she does the cover, I'm probably going to buy that too. Chris Barrett says, I met a hero of mine once. She was amazing. Got Ninja Turtles Alpha. So this is the large format book. It's the size of probably like 2 or 3 comics. Of course, it was probably like what, 10 or they only charged only. It was $6.99. But nonetheless, this is going to act as the bridge between the IDW run ending at 150 and the start of the Jason Aaron Turtles at #1. And it was all right. I actually got a chance to read this, and the Monster Island stuff was honestly a little bit more entertaining than the Donatello Jason Aaron, just because they really didn't give you too much to really think about there. Like Donatello's in a cage, he broke out, he got caught, people catching him thought he was failing, but he was mainly just looking for food for the friends of his inside, and he's kind of slowly losing his identity. He's forgetting who he is, so we'll see how that factors into Turtles 1, and then the old Hobbs stuff, just going back to the Monster Island, and a lot of the characters from the Mutant Boom, from issue 100, the City or Ninja Turtle storyline, kind of touching base with all those characters that aren't the Turtles, basically. So some fun here. Don't know if it's worth $6.99, but they got to keep churning out those Turtle books, even though they don't even have a monthly title until August again, basically. One I still need to catch up on, the Ultimates issue 1. Decided to get the Brian Hitch cover on that. Really like what they did with Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm going digital on the rest of that because these things just keep getting more expensive. Like I said, this one was $6 for like a regular comic. So I just had to have the first issue. I'm going to read the rest digitally because I don't want to pay $6 an issue. Hopefully it's a good story. We'll see down the line. Once again, Ginny Frizzin, Scarlet Witch. Really cool cover there. Had to have that one. TMNT, Saturday Morning Adventures, issue 13. Actually, I had to special order this one. Thought it sounded like a cool concept, but upon reading it, should have known it wasn't a cool concept. So in this comic, there's like a Mr. Mitzpitalik, however you think you need to pronounce that, type elf character. He's kind of like Mr. TeePublic and Mojo kind of rolled into one, and he has decided to pit the animated turtles against turtles from like one of each from the other animation, and you don't see her on the cover of it. God, why can't I think of the name? Jenica. Jenica is also in this issue for whatever reason. So they ended up, it's like a 5-on-4 brawl between the animated turtles and one from each other incarnation, including Leonardo from the original 84 run. And basically somehow animated Mikey gets knocked out, and it turns out they were just aliens that they were fighting. They could have been fighting for real the whole time, something like that. I don't know. It's part 2 of a 3-part story. Thought it sounded cool. Read it. It was fun seeing the other characters there, but probably would pass. Maybe later it'll be interesting. We'll see. Since he did an art in my sketchbook, just forget about that sentence. Since he did a sketch in my sketchbook, I had to get this Art Adams cover. Really enjoyed it, of the Thing. So really awesome there. Got a Pablo Villalobos Catwoman cover. He's starting to get a lot more work at DC, so I've enjoyed his cover so far, so I picked that one up. DC's really getting me on these foils, so for some reason the DC foils are $4 cheaper than the Marvel foils at my local shop. I don't know if that's just because there's more of an upcharge for Marvel, they just charge more, or what, but I'm probably going to end up getting all 12 Crises issues in foil. So there you go. Super reflective glare there. Doom #1. I guess I didn't get the cover that, is going crazy right now on the aftermarket, but I had to have. I thought this was Alex Ross at first, but I think it's actually Addie Granoff based on the signature there. So really cool cover, Addie Granoff. That is awesome. Very confused with Alex Ross. Had to get the Showcase 22 foil as well. Once again, it was $4 cheaper than a Marvel foil would have been. So unfortunately, right now, this is the closest I've come to getting a Showcase 22. It is definitely on the list, though. It's one of the big ones I want right now. There's like 2, and the other one has to do with green characters too, and you can guess that. Wolverine, once again, we got Kevin Eastman on that cover. Actually, I flipped through this. We'll see. I guess some of the deaths did last from the Sabretooth War. Don't want to spoil too much more than that. Barrett says, on the humanity of the foilness. Yes, speaking of foils, I did splurge on a $10 copy of New Mutants 98 foil edition. At least the colors pop on the foil in person. One of the better foil editions I think they've done. Had to get another Prison. That's Ghost Spider #1. Really cool cover on that. Except I know my brother, he didn't like the eyes on this one for some reason. He texted me all about it one night. Might have to get that Virgin cover eventually, but it's vastly more expensive than the trade dress one. And then speaking of Villalobos, he also did an issue 1, so I picked that up as well. I honestly kind of like this cover a little better, but they're both really awesome, so I just went and got both. Like I said, because TMNT isn't putting out a monthly book right now, they got to strive to get one out anyway. Here is Black, White, and Green #1. They're also going to do a #2, I guess. So I don't know if it's an ongoing series or they're just like, hey, we got to put out an issue of Turtles every week. Let's just put out a second one of those. Chris Barrett says on the Spider-Gwen cover, he loves those eyes. Those eyes seem to be staring into his soul. All right. That's how you know it's good art then, if you can, interpret that much from it. And then I believe the last one from the local pickup haul, we got Thundercats #4. At least Snarf is in it finally. We'll see. I think this was actually the end of the first arc already after 4 issues. So a little disappointed. I feel like it should have went 5 or 6. But yeah, one day I might pick these up in a trade or a hardcover. But so far it's just okay. It's very basic so far, I guess. It's just a complete retelling of the Thundercats origin at this point. So if you kind of watched the show when you were a kid and have a memory of what happened in those first few episodes, there's a few new curveballs thrown in. Like there's a whole new Thundercat that turns out, turned heel, of course. It's being controlled by Mum-Ra and other things like Sword of Omens, like immediately broke and all that stuff. So they're throwing some curveballs in there. Not saying this is a bad series. It has my attention, though. Hopefully it turns out good. I've enjoyed it somewhat so far. All right, let's get into a few. I think I got some 50-cent pickups from Half Price Books here. sometimes they overprice things for some reason. Like anything more than $1 is typically overpriced there, in my opinion. But sometimes they're just like, we don't have time to price all this. So let's just drop a box and put it out for 50 cents. And unfortunately, one of the shop co-owners beat me to that box. So he was showing me he found a Spawn one, a couple other cool things. But he wasn't that greedy. So he left a lot of cool stuff in there as well. And he's just like, you should go look at that box now. I'm like, so I did. So I found a Doom, $20.99 newsstand. Of course, I only have one free hand, so we'll give you guys one tonight. Newsstand. Yep, so I got Doom $20.99 newsstand. You gotta get this book when you see it. Spawn number 6, the first appearance of Overt Kill, not Overkill. Copyright Overt Kill with the T. If you guys ever watched like the comic book greats highlights on YouTube, check those out. The Stan Lee talking to the Image founders. I love those old like early 90s videos where they're McFarlane and Liefeld are coming up with this character. It's a really awesome watch if you guys haven't checked it out. But this comic always reminds me of those videos, and just Rob trying his best and Todd just coming in scribbling the overkill on there and that stuff, and Stan's just kind of shaking his head in the back. It's a pretty hilarious process. So I love Overt Kill. Speaking of McFarlane, also found this Marvel Tales 234. Some earlier Marvel Spidey McFarlane. Then of course you got Morbius. Yay. Gotta love Morbius. And then let's get to the chat real quick because I got one coming up that has to do with that. Mr. Gretzky, by the way, says he liked Thundercats as well. He has one of my all-time favorites. Chris Barrett says, I like Spawn 10 with Cerberus. The next book up is Spawn 10 with Cerberus. So, yep, found this one for 50 cents as well. Funny you mentioned it, Chris. So, there you go. Chris, if you need a copy, let me know. Gretzky says he saw tons of Spawn at Heroes Con, I'm sure. Spawn is almost becoming like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where if you try to collect this stuff, like you'll have the commons like this out there, but like anything uncommon is just like minimum $10 or more, I feel like. And that's if you're lucky. So the turtle collectors are crazy. Spawn collectors are trying to be even crazier, trying to, get their run filling stuff too. I was like this one for 50 cents. I almost buy this one every time I see it. Fantastic Four 348. The new Fantastic Four. Shout out to the nerd on the back, the laser scope. I remember the Angry Video Game Nerd reviewing that one, and it pretty much sucks. Who would have thought? So sometimes you got to respect the back cover. Chris Barrett says, oh my God, Spawn 10 should have been the end of Spawn. It would have been one of those books that I would buy every time I see it. Love that story. That's awesome. Got a New Mutants 86. I think this is technically the cameo of Cable. And let's see what they mean by cameo here. I always like to pull out the books where they think cameo. And I'd say, well, I don't know, cameo or actual first appearance. You be the judge. So you see the arm. You see his face right there. I mean, you just got to see the lower part of his torso, and that's what counts as the first appearance. So how is New Mutants 86 not the first appearance of Cable? I'll let you guys figure that one out. But yeah, New Mutants 86 cameo of Cable. We got Spider-Man number 23. Decided to pick this one up as well. I believe this is, it looks like one of them gatefold gimmicks. So we'll go ahead and unfold the gate here. Since it's only 50 cents, let's go ahead and manhandle this, I guess. So there is the entire cover of the issue. Pretty awesome, if you ask me. I love the 90s gimmicks. So there is that. Chris Barrett says, it is the first appearance. Maybe because he has no dialogue, it's considered a cameo. Gretzky says, Eastman is at Bull City Con in November. Yeah, I was still debating if the time and the stars align, all that stuff in October. Will I go to Cincinnati Comic Expo? Maybe, maybe not. I didn't go last year, and I don't know. They need to announce a little bit more for me. It's a 2.5-hour trip for me, but they made a heck of a first announcement. It was Kevin Eastman, so. But I already have a lot of signatures from him, and he charges like, I don't know, like $35-$40 a signature now. So, yeah, I've already done it a few times. I got a head sketch from him, my sketchbook and all that stuff. So, I don't know. It's always cool seeing Kevin Eastman again, and that might be one of those cons where you can actually go and meet and interact with him without a gigantic line behind you, like the last time he was at C2E2, I believe, last year. And that line just was never ending. All right, speaking of Cable New Mutants, we got issue 89 as well. Gotta love Liefeld McFarlane teaming up on that one. If you watched X-Men 97, by the way, check out Modern Men X-Men 97 review. Links somewhere on this channel. I guess I could have put it in the thing. But these two books kind of heated up right after that. I found these for $1, like within the days of the reveal that Bastion was the bad guy of X-Men 97. So found his first full and his cameo appearance, an Uncanny 333 and X-Men 52. So got that. And then for some reason, they were also selling a lot of Walking Dead for $1. So I think now that the show is kind of, I haven't been keeping track. I feel like the show has ended, but they're going back to like the Rick and Michonne storyline and a different show. And I don't know. I had someone explain it to me once, and I'm just like, okay, I didn't remember too much of it. But nonetheless, my point is I think some of these, the demand on some of these Walking Deads is finally coming down a little bit. So you can at least, if you want to run Phil, you can start to get some of those missing issues for $1. So, and that's kind of what I did here. I started to, figure out what issues I didn't have. And these were all $1 at half price books. So I didn't have like any of the All Out War story, because this is pretty much like almost right where I stopped reading originally. We're kind of where Negan kills Glenn. And then I kind of fell off after that. So this was like the first really big storyline, I believe, after all of that. So I was happy to find those for $1. Let's just say. We got Harley Quinn and Power Girl. I think this is kind of where I quit the Harley Quinn stuff too, for whatever reason. I enjoyed it. I guess I must have moved or something and didn't pick it up on a new pull list. But I think I have this issue. I couldn't remember. So it was $1. I picked it up. But I don't think I had the rest of the mini series. So I got issue 2. Issue 3 and 4 as well. And Harley's another one of those characters, kind of like Deadpool. You just don't see a lot of that stuff in the wild for $1. So if you do, it's probably going to sell pretty fast. So always happy to see your Harleys and your Deadpools in the $1 bin when you can. They don't last long. Mr. Gretzky's saying that Steranko is $50 a signature now. Wow. Yeah, part of that you pay for the experience of meeting Jim Steranko, though. He is quite the character. I met him, it was about 10 years ago now at Indiana Comic-Con. And I'm not going to, maybe I can twist the camera a little bit. I did at least get the Spirit of America up there, and he signed it in pencil. So, yep, Spirit of America. Sorry for shaky camera there. But yeah, I at least did get a chance to meet him and get a little something from him at one point in time. Because we'd love to get a bunch of books. I like at least like this up here, the X-Men 50, that would be sweet to get a gold label on, but I don't think I'm going to crack that out since it's a 4.0. I kind of like it as it is there. But yeah, Steranko, he was really cool. He does like to talk, though, once you meet and give him money. So it's usually a very slow going line. Chris Barrett's asking, didn't you meet Steranko with JD? I believe the actual time we sort of met him was at Baltimore Comic-Con as well. And JB saw him walking down the steps because he's just like a 5'1" dude who's always wearing like the same blazer, and his hair is curled up like so it's pretty hard to miss if you see him walking around. And JB, Discovery Bay Comics, wanted a picture of him. He's just like, I don't do that. He just kept walking. So I think he had just taken a picture with a young lady, and JB wanted to try to do the same thing, but JB does not equal young lady in the eyes of Steranko. So he's like, no, I'm good, and kept walking. So that was our other interaction with Steranko. All right, I got House of the Slaughter at number 1. Found this for $1. I was actually looking for this book before C2E2 because I wanted to get, most of the creative team to sign it. And of course, I find this copy after C2E2 in the $1 bin. I believe this is Wind number 6. I can't remember the numbering on these Winds, but another James Tynion series. This is either number 2, I think. No trade dress, no number. But I did find the number 1 for $1 as well. And then we're going back to Spawn, because for some reason they had this Spawn the dollar, but I picked up an issue 11 for $1. So once again, it's kind of like Turtles. Anytime you just see it, you may as well just pick it up, because if you don't need it, someone else is probably going to need it. So Spawn for $1. Here's something you don't find in the dollar bins. Something is Killing the Children. Found an issue 20 and an issue 19. So I figured, why not? Just if I end up reading them, don't want to, I'll probably give them to my brother, because he's slowly really liking the series too. But one, and then, you know, the other things in the category would be like Invincible and early number 2. You just don't leave those in the dollar bins if for some reason they're in there. Barrett's saying, I mean, disco and ladies are not equal. Love them both, but ladies will always win. And Chris, I know you'll love this next book. Got Booster Gold #1 for $1. So gotta love yourself some Booster Gold. This run is really good. If you haven't had a chance to read the Jeff Johns, I think it's also Jeff Katz. I could be wrong. And of course, Dan Jurgens does the art on the character he created. It's really good and a lot of fun. Gretzky just said 8 books to get graded by CBCS. I sure hope they don't lose any of them. So, no, seriously, I'm really glad Hudak got his book back. I heard that story. That was like the ultimate horror story for anyone wanting to get their book graded. I guess he found the book, though. He might be live explaining it. I'm not sure, but curious to hear that story at some point in time. Yes, 52 pickup. Great storyline. And yeah, he confirms that the book was found. Thank goodness. That's the ultimate horror story for any comic collector. You send a prized treasure to somebody and it's gone. Oops. You'll have to tell me those details at some point, Chris. We got all new Captain America #1. Got that for $1. Got this Marco Cacchetto Daredevil #14 from the Zdarsky run. So I thought that was a great cover on that. So I had to pick that up for $1. Got a newsstand copy of Batman and Robin #1. Usually around this era, these newsstands, they were, I don't even know where they sold it. Probably like Barnes and Noble before they went under. Maybe Books A Million had them. But yeah, these newsstands, this was toward the bitter end of, well, maybe it was, I can't remember. Someone's going to tell me what the actual end was. We got Blaze #1. Shiny, goodness, fun. Gotta love the shinies. I have no idea what this book is, but I thought it looked hilarious, so I bought it. Creepsville #1. And actually, I like the art on the back as well, because it's Universal Monsters. So thought it was a really cool looking book. And actually, I think on the inside, and by the way, really great Dave Dorman cover too. The inside, I believe the actual artist, Frank Kurtz, signed each copy of this book. So once again, never heard of Go-Go Comics, but I found it in a 50-cent bin, and it was a signed comic. So figured I'd go ahead and pick that up. All right. So before we get into the last few piles here, we may as well talk about some toys, because I know Chris Baird is on the edge of a seat waiting to talk about some old action figures. But basically, as you can see behind me there, I have probably most of the toys I had as a kid that, were my favorites in the background there. And those are the ones that I'm probably going to keep for, as long as I can. So, but there was also more of them in my garage that it was just taking up space. And, in the world of adulting, sometimes you need to make room for a riding mower and some other lawn equipment and just other things in the garage, instead of just toys that have been collecting grime and dust and dirt and set it in broken pieces for probably almost 40 years now, basically, if you add it all up. So I was like, at this point, I'm never going to get time to go buy a bunch of these little rubber bands. I just happen to have this here. They're smaller than this, but I would have needed 100 little rubber bands like this to fix up my G.I. Joe collection, and not to mention all the other time that it would have took to clean all of this stuff. So I just decided, why not go ahead and test out Facebook Marketplace as a selling platform, put this stuff up for sale for people who want to take the time to restore these collectibles, to put them in their own personal collections. And basically, as my, one of my influences in this, the Game Chasers would say, save them from the dustbins of obscurity. So I decided to do that. And oh my God, One thing I learned through all this is the toy people, they don't mess around. When they see a deal, they will come in droves. They will drive from hours away, and they don't really care that much about. I don't know if that's just they don't care about the condition or what, but most of these people I interacted with were like, "Here's the cash, boom, bye." It's like any type of small talk was not that I wanted to make that much small talk, but I figured I at least like tell them where I got these, why I enjoyed them, and I hope that they enjoy them and do the same thing and put them in their displays. And most of them I feel like are going to restore them and put them in their displays, play with them, whatever. But yeah, it was just kind of hilarious. Just, okay, sure, here's a whole bunch of money by. So I won't get too much in the prices, but basically I made some people some really good deals because the response I got on these, they're almost all sold like within hours. So yeah, let's just get into what I sold here. So here's the first one. It was a Darth Vader Empire Strikes Back little toy holder that my sister found in a garbage clean out for a company she worked with. And basically, she just gave it to me. She's like, "Here, you can try to sell this if you want or keep it. I don't care." This was from years ago. So like she's worked for 2 other companies since, I believe. But she gave this to me, just saying, like, do whatever you want with this. So finally, I was like, you know what? I'm not like a big Star Wars guy in terms of like, trying to get all the figures and stuff. And all the figures I have otherwise as a kid are like Power of the Force, which those are all like not even worth the plastic at this point. But I knew someone out there would treasure these more than just sitting in a garage collecting grime and dust. So this was one of the items I went ahead and put up for sale. The next one was just a bunch of broke ass G.I. Joe vehicles. A lot of them were missing wheels and just in parts. Like the one on the far right, the shiny silver looking one, that's actually in 2 split pieces because it was pretty much, it crash landed when I was a kid, I'm pretty sure, and I crashed it. Let's just say it is broken in half, by God. But yeah, I put a real cheap price tag on this because most of these were missing a wheel or broken or some combination of that. But the guy I sold this to was very happy with what he got. The next one is just basically an old shoe bag of broken G.I. Joe. This is a part of this next picture, actually. Oh, not that picture. Sorry. We're going through. Okay. It was part of this picture because I was originally going to try to at least piece together the legs of the torso, but most of these, as you can see, are broke or, separated, missing limbs. And this is the one I'm like, I will never have time to put all these back together or look them up one by one because there's so many. And this is the one, when I posted it, I probably got 6 messages immediately from local people, toy collectors, like either A, like, hey, can I have you ship this to me? Or, hey, you are way undervaluing this. I could fix up one character and sell it for $100 or something. Finally, I found a local guy that was just like, I will come pick those up right now. So I finally just was like, I'm tired of all this. I just want this, I want to make someone happy. I want to get some money. So I just decided to take this one guy's offer and I sold a whole bag of broken G.I. Joes basically. But if anybody out there is watching, I'm kind of curious to figure out which one is the $100 Joe. Is it in this picture or is it somewhere in this trash bag, basically? But yeah, these are in very rough shape. So hopefully someone's out there right now fixing all these up, putting them on little toy stands and making a huge display out of all of them. So that would be worth it to me. And then here's another one. I just had like a random box of toys I grabbed out of the garage and started putting together. Like I kind of decided like I like my movie turtles and I like my original like Rubberhead turtles that were the first ones. I don't need like 20 Mikeys and 20 Raphs. And I did actually let go of my original Splinter and my original Shredder just because they don't have like any of the original clothing and they barely stand on their own. They're pretty beat up. So I slightly like 1% regret letting those go. And then I threw in the Thundercats and the He-Man stuff too. Like I was never a big He-Man kid. I love Thundercats, but most of those figures like I played the hell out of, so they barely hold together. So I did put those up as I only had like 2 Mum-Ras and a Lion-O. So I didn't feel too bad about letting those go because those Lion-O's legs were about to fall off. So This one, I got some good money out of this one, actually. But yeah, I decided I didn't need all of those in the collection. I just didn't really have room for them. Same thing for this, just another box. Probably should have kept at least the Batman on the bottom left. But whatever, I might look for that one and get it in the, get it on card maybe. The Batman Forever ones I wasn't attached to. And then some of the other ones, I'm like, like I don't need a Troll or Raphael in my life. So I decided to let that go. And then, yeah, there's some good ones there, but I just don't have room for them and I don't need them. And then some Attitude Era stuff, WWF, WCW Hollywood Hogan there. The cameraman I probably should have sold on eBay, but I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to throw him in here, not have to think about it. He also doubles as the referee. I think they just gave him a repaint for like the ring set or whatever I had. And then the last one is me and my brother had a bunch of these cards we saved, and they were in a box. So actually, the guy I was selling to was really excited about the box of cards too. So I'm not sure of the value, or maybe you could make a poster out of them. I'm not sure, but the guy was very happy to get this one too. So made a lot of quick cash last week selling all that stuff. So, but I feel like the comic book market is slowly going down day by day, and things are a little affordable and easier to get. We'll talk about that here more a little bit, but the toys, oh my God. Like I said, they don't mess around in the toy market. They just they see a good deal, they're all over it. All right. Chris Barrett saying, I thought they were called articulated statuettes. They're freaking toys, man. I don't care what action figures. There you go. All right, we got some antique shop stuff here, which I actually may pay a visit to the shop because I think they're 25% off throughout June. We got Weird Mystery Tales number 4. Nice $2 pickup on a 20-cent DC. I'll buy that type of stuff all day. We got X-Men 26. I bought this and then got a tote with the same comic in it. So I guess if anyone's looking for some X-Men, definitely go to my Instagram because I've actually posted a lot of stuff like this to try to get rid of because I got a nice tote we'll talk about more in a little bit that had a bunch of doubles in it for me. I didn't realize how big and chunky this book is. This is like a whole trade paperback basically. Classic Star Wars. Really cool Adam Hughes cover on that from A New Hope. Chris Barrett says, now that's what Drew told me, but then again, what is that? Yeah, we've been asking that for a while. Found this for $2. I think this is actually a really good deal for this book. Classic Star Wars Early Adventures. Really awesome early Boba Fett cover on that one. So that was cool. Spider-Man number 13, part of the Sitting in a Tree storyline, which I was surprised this guy was selling for $2 because every other part of this storyline was in his glass case, so I don't know why this one was at $2 and the rest were marked up. But hey, whatever. Picked up the one that was $2. I never heard of this. I'm a little nervous to read this because I don't like the writer, but I love the cover artist, basically. Daredevil Reborn. Really awesome jock covers on them, so I had to pick up the whole set because they had all of them for $2 a piece. But then I saw Andy Deagle wrote it, and I remember his Daredevil was one of the worst parts of this concurrent awesome Daredevil run we're on now. It started with Kevin Smith as all the way to Chip Zdarsky. And Andy Deagle kind of put a black eye on all that. But yeah, I'm not sure how the quality of this is. This might have been after Shadowland and probably what led into the Mark Waid stuff. So I might give this a chance, see if Andy Deagle kind of redeemed himself, kind of like I think Daredevil's supposed to in this run. Because the Shadowland stuff, I remember not liking whatsoever. Found this Swamp Thing for $1. Issue number 69, really awesome cover there. I really need to look at what numbers of this I got because I think I'm picking up a lot of doubles because I don't have my list on my phone. So, but it's $1. I wasn't going to leave this there for $1. Found in Moon Knight, number 5. It was $3. Pretty good condition. Well, there's a couple errors on the back I see, but not too bad for basically being in the equivalent of a Ziploc bag. Got Champions number 3, $3 as well. Pretty nice copy, except for I didn't realize it until just now. I thought it was on the bag, but someone wrote 10 cents on it. So not so nice copy, I guess. Shout out to the Great Legend. I know he loves him some Firestorm. Found a nice copy of Firestorm Number 3 for $3. And it's a newsstand on top of it. I think this is the first Killer Frost, if my memory serves. So, pretty good buy for $3 in my opinion. Probably an upgrade for me as well. The Champions number 5. They put the sticker over the 10-cent thing, I see. So, just now seeing that. Oh, well, still good for $3. Got these for $1 last week at my local shop. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. There we go. Steranko again. Did the cover on that one. Jack Kirby, Jim Steranko. You got to love that combination, right? Found a Doctor Strange Marvel Premiere number 4. It's a lower grade, but hey, it was $1. Gotta love those 20-cent ones. Power Warlock number 4. Nice pressing candidate. See that wonderful spine? It needs to be realigned. So, $1. This one, I don't think a press could use a press, but it's not going to help. Supervillain Team Up number 1. Lovely Doctor Doom cover there. We got Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 2. More Jim Steranko goodness there. And I drove the half price that day, I guess, because this was next in the stack. Got the Batgirl special for $2. Couldn't remember if I had this, but for $2, I went ahead and put it in the pile. No, Gretzky's a big Superman guy. I got $2.64. It was $3. Why would I pass this up for $3? I'm slowly getting into the older Superman collecting myself. I don't think I had these Dark Knight's Death Metals, but for $1, hey, at least you got to pick it up for the shiny covers, right? I got issue number 6, just hanging out in the dollar bin for some reason. And then issue 7 was with it too. So can't remember how many issues this ran for. It was like 7, 8, or 9, but I figured, hey, why not just go ahead and finish the series? I think I dropped it after issue 5 anyway. Green Lantern number 38 from the Jeff Johns run. So one of the things I still collect in the world of modern Green Lantern is trying to get some of these like weird and obscure variants for it. This one was the second print in the Age of the Red Lantern storyline. Because I already have all the others. I got them as they came out, but just getting some of these like random covers that they were making, like the second print one. So I had to figure, why not go ahead and get that. Chris Barrett says, do you guys remember when Death Metal was hot? Kind of. I feel like it kind of killed off a lot of the hype behind the DC universe. So I feel like after that is when things started to go downhill for a while. I remember when this book was hot though, Justice League number 12. This thing was and I got it for $1. Another $1 book. So I thought that was funny. And the last $1 book in this stack, Superman 400. Didn't have a copy of Superman 400. So for $1, had to have that. All right, let's see what we got left. I think we're getting to the real good stuff now. Try not to bend these up as I pick them up. It's not going to matter on a few. They're a little great anyway. All right, actually, we'll start with this stack. So I was talking earlier about how I feel like the comic market is starting to come down a little bit. Some of these other, like at least like the old non-keys are starting to become a little bit more affordable. If you look hard enough. Some of them are still overpriced, of course, but I feel like right now is a good time to be a buyer, not such a good time to try to sell things. So, because believe me, I've tried. Still got a lot of stuff. Anyway, Chris Barrett says, Death Metal killed passion big time. But nonetheless, I've started to actually run fill some Silver Age Spider-Man, which wasn't possible 4 years ago when COVID hit and everybody was buying everything that had the word Marvel on it. Or was just, from the gold and silver, early Bronze Age in general. But, beat up comics come across the way and they're reasonably priced and not like hundreds of dollars. I'm going to buy those books. So I got a Amazing Spider-Man issue number 10. So it's missing half of page 1, it says, unfortunately. But I definitely didn't want to pass this up. This probably ended up being the oldest Spider-Man comic in my collection for a very, very long time. And you could tell it is probably like a 0.5, 1.0, whatever the lowest grade you can give a comic without just giving it a no grade is, because it's still there. Probably a purple since the half of a page is missing, but thought that was a fun pickup. Unfortunately, it was not $1. He says, "Sorry for your wallet, Silver Spider-Man." Yes, yeah, this was a rough day, rough day for the wallet, but I got some good stuff, I think. We got Spider-Man 25. Once again, it's pretty beat up, but yeah, sometimes just got to pull the trigger on these things because you don't see them every day, of course. And when you do see them, they're at least 3 figures. So very happy with these pickups. And they're from various spots too. It wasn't a lot of them were one person, but actually I think this next little run was from eBay. Surprisingly, I was surprised not many people were bidding on this auction, so I got a 37 out of that, which I think is like the first Norman Osborn not as a Green Goblin, something like that, if I remember right. So yeah, I'm surprised this one doesn't go for more, basically. Then issue 38, and I think that's where they have the art transition from 38 to 39, which this is why I was shocked that this auction wasn't getting more attention, because this book was in it. Like, this is where Romita Sr. comes on the book, I believe. So, and it's just an iconic cover. So I was very happy to get that. And then issue 40 was in there as well. And the buyer threw in a reader copy of Spidey Super Stories #1. So definitely left some positive feedback there. And I got them for a pretty good price. Now, going back to Walking Dead, I was talking about how I feel like the prices have dropped way, way down, except for like the first issue. That's still like a couple grand, probably. So I was happy to get some single-digit Walking Dead, and I probably only paid maybe a little more than $10 a book. I could be wrong, but I figured for what they are, they're pretty good. And they do have some things a eraser or something could clean up, and they're not perfect, but they could be improved upon. But got Walking Dead #7. This is first Charlie Adler on the title. So that's, once again, surprised not more people were going after these books. So I got an issue 7. And then issue 8 as well. And most of these, I mean, all of them I read in the original Volume 2 trade, but I never thought I'd be able to get these lower issues, for affordable prices, because I figured they'd all be like $40 plus or whatever. But since the show is kind of either coming to an end or it doesn't have as big of a fan base right now, I think it's a good time to try to get some of these, because eventually, the younger people watching it, that have light wallets will eventually get some money on them, and they'll try to buy these up in like 10 or 20 years. So I definitely didn't want to miss out on getting this lot for a good price. And I could actually even see like someone was marking the back of these at like $30 and another $30 one apparently. So I never noticed that before, but someone was actually like writing their prices. They were going to price these on the back, and luckily I didn't pay $30 for any of these issues. So I was definitely happy with that auction win. Really good deal there. All right, before I show the last deck, I did want to plug a YouTube short I just made and released right before this video. If you guys like YouTube shorts, check out my review, or not really a review, more of just a synopsis of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. I try to summarize this giant book in less than 1 minute. So it's kind of fun just to watch to see if I can go through this whole thing in 1 minute. Definitely check out that. I also threw it all over on Instagram and that stuff. So let me know what you think of that format. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know. I'm probably going to try to do at least for the 62 issue run, really 63 issues, because I want to cover the Raphael one shot and the other ones I can along the way too. So check that out. I had some fun making that and just getting back into the editing side of things. All right, so I made what? Maybe they're all really good key pop. Basically, random pile of mostly keys. So I saved this stack for last. So first one on the top is this book right here, G.I. Joe, the not Todd McFarlane cover. It's the only cover on this. G.I. Joe Special #1. I got this for dirt cheap, but it does have a cover split that goes through like half of the book. So the seller of this, it was Minuteman Comics on Whatnot, made a great deal on this, because this is usually like in any condition like a triple figure book if it shows at a con. I didn't realize how few copies there were on like eBay. If you look this book up, you'll see listings, but there aren't tons of them like you think this. I feel like if people have this book, they just try to sell it. But I've at least always really enjoyed this cover, and it does present very well for being split on the cover. So decided to go ahead and pick it up. He actually threw in an extra book or two. So that was really awesome. Got a really low grade copy. Once again, it does present nicely, in my opinion. Fantastic Four 52, first appearance of Black Panther. Got that in a Whatnot auction as well. But yeah, happy with that. Finally got an affordable copy. I think I actually got this for a really, really good deal, actually. Once again, these prices are starting to come down a little bit because they probably should go up because they just use them in X-Men 97. I was going to say they're not using them in Deadpool in live action, but they did use them in the cartoon. But anyway, New Mutants 87, the first, or is it the second appearance of Cable? First full appearance, I guess. I still think 86 was the first appearance. But once again, you guys can discuss that. We looked at that earlier. So this is my first copy of this book, so this will be going right into my personal collection. I unsorted these right before the stream, of course, but we'll keep going. Got Daredevil number 4. I've been trying to run fill Daredevil for a very long time. So I got a pretty solid deal on a yellow costume issue 4. I believe it's also the first Purple Man. So this will be definitely going in the press, staying in the personal collection. So not only am I trying to get some Spider-Man when I see it, I got to get Daredevil. Like Daredevil's like the main Marvel run I'm trying to complete because Spider-Man and X-Men, let's face it, they're just way overpriced. There's no other way around it. Like if the market were to crash tomorrow, they would still be like way overpriced for their silver, especially those first appearances. But Daredevil is still semi-attainable. And he's my favorite Marvel character. So I'm definitely happy to pick up some very low number Daredevil when I can. Now, I don't know if Mr. Gretzky's still hanging out in the chat. I know he'll like this book. We got Action Comics 134. My local shop was selling Golden Age Superman, and I had to hop all over that. So I think I got this for like $50, $55, something like that. But I guess there was like either the coupons clipped out or there's a chunk missing out of the back, but I thought this is still a very nice collectible piece. I mean, it looks very nice on display. So this one might end up in the display downstairs. This might be a glass caser for sure. I really like the cover on that. Thought that was awesome. Then I just picked this up because, you know, it was a pretty good price for the condition. Secret Wars number 8. Whatnot auction. I put in a pre-bid and then no one bid against me, so I was a little shocked when I opened the package. Like, oh, my pre-bid went through. That's awesome. So I did pay up, but not much more than, you know, I should have on this. So good deal on it. Very happy with it. Good condition, all that good stuff. I actually tried to I think the press did well on it. There's still like one little tiny little error I put in, just trying to clean it up a little bit, but it's good. Yeah, I wish I could have got that for cover price, but no cover price there. Went and picked up a copy of Iron Man 128, Demon in a Bottle. I was just seeing if it was an upgrade for me, and it might be. I'm still trying to decide. I was going to run it through the press and see if I was happy with the condition. Other than that, I might go ahead and just sell this one. I have one downstairs, but yeah, sometimes I like to try to buy books like this, condition upgrade them, and then if I don't think I can, that's why I try not to pay too much more, because at least like I can just sell this no problem what I paid for it. Just kind of like this next book, Hulk 340. When you have the opportunity to buy this, like you probably should. It's one of those hot books, just keeps going up. So got this on Whatnot for the same person I got the this from. I think this was all in the same box. So this is a pretty good box when I got home one day and opened all this up. So good. My wallet really hurt after this auction. So good little haul there. Going back to those Spider-Mans, I actually got these next two books on the same auction as the Spider-Man 10. So once again, another auction. Yeah, April hurt my wallet a lot. I think that's when I actually got these books, was the very end of April after C2E2. Got an Amazing Spider-Man 13. First appearance of Mysterio. Actually, I think I left a spot on my wall downstairs for this one, so I want to make sure I showed it on the live stream, but Probably one of the coolest books I picked up for a while, to say the least. I'm very happy with this purchase. Didn't think I'd, let alone, the Daredevil 4 or the Spider-Man 10. I didn't think I'd have like a key first appearance of an awesome Spider-Man villain like Mysterio, but I'm very happy with that. Of course, I'm actually going to set that over there so I can put it on the wall when I'm done with this. And then here's another first-time book for me. This one's going right in the boxes. Amazing Spider-Man 300. I did not have this book, and I'm glad I didn't have to pay $300 for it like it seems to be consistently selling for. But another great deal. Another happy to have, first full Venom. I don't know how that one goes too, because I think he's pretty sure he's in $2.99, but I don't have one of those to open up like I did for cable. But iconic cover. It's one of those ones that you're probably not going to see in a dollar bin, because anybody pricing any comic anywhere, they see this cover, they know it's something big. So Amazing Spider-Man 300. Now, to get back to that tote I referenced earlier, so if you follow me on Instagram, you already know that I got a Facebook Marketplace deal on like it's 4 totes of comics. So it's like $50 for all, $20 a piece. Where I was like, just give me all of them for $50. Like, there's easy $50 of merchandise and comic books and such there. And unfortunately, a lot of them were doubles. Some of them were good doubles too. Like, I always got to show this book. Shout out to the great legend. This is his all-time favorite comic book. X-Men number 4, first appearance of Omega Red. That was in the tote. You had the second appearance of Deadpool. Gotta love that. Had a Deadpool Circle Chase number 1 in the tote. And then the next two are the main reason. Well, this was the main reason I picked up the tote, because I could see the spine of it in the picture. This book, I had zero idea it was in the tote, and I wish I was filming my reaction when I pulled out this book. But the one that I knew was going to be in there was Wolverine 88, Deadpool versus Wolverine. I knew I'd sold this when I was trying Whatnot out. This is one of the books I put up to, draw in viewers and whatever. And I got a good price for my copy I had. But this is my only copy currently. I'm probably going to try to sell it again, but maybe I'll hold on to it if nobody wants it. I really like this book, actually. One of Adam Kubert's best covers for sure. And then the book, I had no idea it was in there, and I should have just did an unboxing here, and just my reaction would have been priceless, I'm sure. But New Mutants 98, like the book to have from the 90s, probably. It's debatable between that and, ASM 300 or like the big two from the 90s. Actually, I can't remember if that's the 89. Maybe I'm wrong. Either that. One of the books to have from the 90s, New Mutants 98, first Deadpool. Like, yeah, especially right now. The movie's getting ready to come out. So this was easily worth $50 and then some. It paid, so everything else was like icing on the cake after this one, basically. Going back to Whatnot auctions, I got a Moon Knight number 1. Sold this, I think, to Donnie several years ago, the Mastodon comics. And I was just like, dang, I wouldn't mind having that Moon Knight back, just because I got into the show. I've started to realize how awesome the character was. The Bill Sienkiewicz art in the run. Some really cool covers down the line. So I got a bunch of those back in the collection, but I didn't have the number 1 because for a while it was blowing up around the show. And luckily, I got a decent deal on an issue 1 it's in pretty good quality condition. It's a newsstand to boot, so I was happy to put that back in the collection. We got Spider-Man 68. I think I got this the same day as the Moon Knight. So since it's, above 50, I don't think it's a big key or anything. It was pretty affordable. So happy to add, anything under 100 when it comes to Spider-Man. Probably going to try to put in the collection. Just like this one, another, it's beat up, but it was cheap copy of Spider-Man issue 74. Yeah. Issue 74 right there. Going back to Daredevil. So like I said, for some reason, I just jumbled my issues around. The oldest issue of Daredevil I actually own now is issue number 3. It does have a lot of staining on the bottom. Well, it doesn't show up quite as bad on camera, but in person, someone was having like a Coke or a Dr. Pepper or something. But got a Daredevil issue 3, so I'm starting to complete a good chunk of that issue, like that run of 1 through 10. So hopefully I'll build up to the big one and get the issue 1 one day, maybe the issue 2. But I'm glad to have 3 and 4 out of the way. So I didn't mention 5 because, hey, it's right here. So I got number 5 out of the way as well. First appearance of Matador, for what it's worth. So I think I'm just missing 3 of the yellow costumes now. So like 1, 2, and I think 6 is the other one. 7 has the first red, if I remember right. If I have all my, maybe it's 7 and 8, I can't remember. But either way, happy to start getting all these single-digit Daredevils in the collection and not completely breaking the bank. And Chris Barrett beat me to my joke. El Matador, Tito Santana, one of the best mid-card jobber baby faces ever. I always liked him as a kid. Some other randoms I threw in the same auction. Daredevil 225. Couldn't remember if I had it, so I picked it up for like, I think it was $2 on the auction. I think the next few were similar, $2-ish, 118. Just trying to fill that run. Same thing, 143. Probably already had a 190. Probably have a few 190s, but you know, the return of Elektra, 191. The follow-up. Does a man search for his own soul? And then they'll cap it off tonight. Like I said, I had shuffled these around too much. But we got some more Golden Age Superman. These are about $40, $50 a piece. Actually, I think they were almost $40 a piece because once I bought 4 of them, the shop owner actually cut me a deal on them. So I think they're priced one thing, but then I bought a few and he just gave me a deal because he was still pricing some things. So I got Action Comics, 115. I just like, you know, the colors. I feel like still popped on that one. Here is Superman issue 60. Him yelling at a baseball ump about something. So Superman likes to play dirty at sports, I guess. So I just thought that cover was hilarious. I think the rest of these had sold. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll go back next week and, you know, pick up a few more if they're there. None of them were there, of course. So I'm glad I picked up what I did. I went over my budget big time that day. But I'm glad I got what I got because I wouldn't be able to get it otherwise even if I had the budget next week. Last book of the night, Superboy, issue number 6. That's right, issue number 6. It's like the way the red pops on this cover. It's still got a very colorful. Looks like Lana Lang is, I think that's Lana. I'm assuming that's Lana there. Sitting, looking at her Superboy wall. There you have it. A little bit of everything. Golden Age, modern, bronze. Yeah, we had some silvers. We had that Daredevil. A little bit of everything. We sold some toys. We used all that money on comics already, apparently. And yeah, a couple programming notes. We got Modern Men tomorrow at 10 p.m. We're doing it on Tuesday because Drew's schedule has changed. Everybody else seemed to be open up. So live tomorrow here, Tuesday, 10 p.m. Modern Men, I believe it's episode 8. We're going to be reading this run up here. All New Wolverine. Tom Taylor discusses All New Wolverine, or writes All New Wolverine, I should say. I haven't read it yet. I'm going to read it either tonight or tomorrow afternoon while I'm getting ready for the show. So I don't really know how to hype up the run other than that because I haven't read anything yet because I'm saving it so I can talk about it with a fresh mind tomorrow. And then, like I said, if you like YouTube shorts, check out my synopsis of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. It's on Instagram and it's on here on YouTube as well. Let me know what you think of the format, and I'd appreciate it. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, all that fun jazz, thumbs down, whatever you feel like doing. Sounds great. Big thanks, Chris Barrett, for keeping me company here. Mr. Gretzky, saw him in the chat earlier. Sure I got some gimmicks queued up somewhere. Till next time. Newsstand.